Hold her close until she's gone. I'll never know what she was running from. I'll cash her check in the morning.
Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Movie Talks, name still impending. I am Rumman, and this is...
Leo. Hello,
and
everybody.
yeah, so welcome everybody to another episode. As you see, what we just heard is an excerpt from our movie, which is Sin City.
Sin City.
So Leo, why don't you explain, because you chose this movie.
All right, so this is one of my favorite films.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched it like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. And it's the adaptation... Oh my God! Excuse me. So the adaptation of
Frank Miller's comic,
Yeah.
Sin City, which is basically just a city where just fucked up shit happens.
Yeah.
You
So
know what I mean? It's very corrupted.
Yeah, it's basically just down, dirty, crime. Everything's corrupt. Everything's
The
bad.
Senate rules. Well, not the senator rules everything. They're prostitutes. Everything happens.
Yeah, every type of bad criminal thing is there.
Yeah.
And this is the film adaptation directed and what is it? Made by Robert Rodriguez.
Yes.
And the very interesting thing when I was watching the beginning credits, it said shot and cut by Robert Rodriguez instead of like director of photography Robert Rodriguez and editor Robert Rodriguez.
Really?
It says shot and cut, and it's a very Robert Rodriguez thing too. I love Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah. So that's like a signature. Like, it just doesn't really. That's nice. That's funny, actually. I would have laughed.
Yeah, him and Quentin Tarantino are like best friends, and Quentin Tarantino is actually a guest director, as they put it.
Oh,
for
really?
the film, yeah. So yeah, this is Sin City, the
2005.
Yeah, 2005
make.
Sin City, the adaptation of a few of the graphic novels and a few of the comics from the
Frank Miller's novel.
Yeah, Frank Miller's Sin City.
Is it like
series.
DC, Marvel, or just completely like just regular?
It's completely different. It's
Yeah.
it's just like a bunch of series of like short stories or short graphic novels about various characters in the city. And in this film, it covers 4 of them.
Yeah.
And the beginning, which you just heard, which was a little short, like a couple of page comic called "The Customer Is Always Right," and I just want to say that is, man, I love the movie. And when I was trying to tell you to watch it, I was trying to reinforce, like, you have to find the theatrical release.
Yeah. And unfortunately for me, I just could not find it.
Yeah.
I literally typed in everything, and the movie just kept starting with another story, which we will come back to later. But, so the customer is always right. It's, like you said, the first half is very, very interesting. Now, before we go into even deeper, to my knowledge, this movie, when it was shown in theaters, was cut up in pieces, correct?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
So when the version that you ended up watching, you
Yeah.
ended up watching probably the extended version.
I think, because they just, like, all the stories were at once. There was, like, nothing part 1, part 2. It just was from beginning to end. And what was interesting about this one is, like, after each story, the credits would just come up.
Yeah,
And these would be,
yeah.
like, fucking 3 minutes long. I'd be like, what is up with these credits? And I'm like, this is definitely not the version Leo wants me watching, but, like, I can't find anything else, and I need to watch the film. But I was enjoying it, though. I thought it really, I enjoyed it even more, because I was just like, wow, this is insane.
Yeah, so the way, interesting, so if you're going to go watch the film, you should very much go try to seek out the theatrical release. I guess just look up Sin City 2005, make sure it doesn't say extended cut or director's cut or extended edition, anything
Just
like
buy
that.
the DVD. I think
maybe the DVD just
I think
had
the
one.
DVD might do it better, because for some reason, all of them just had the extended. I don't know why.
But in the film, it's cut up very interestingly, and I think it's cut up in a very good way to kind of like interweave these stories. So the way it's cut up is it first starts off with it composes of 4 stories. The first is The Customer Is Always Right,
Which is very short. It's about, I want to say, 3 minutes?
Yeah, it's about 3
to 4 minutes.
We just listened to it.
Yeah, that was the whole thing. That was the first part.
Yeah, and it's just like a kind of like encapsulated little story. Then it goes to The Hard Goodbye, and then after that is The Big Fat Kill, and
actually, I thought it was The Customer Is Always Right, The Yellow Bastard, and then The Hard Goodbye.
You're right. I was confusing The Yellow Bastard and The Hard Goodbye.
Yeah.
So The Yellow Bastard, The Hard Goodbye, and then The Big Fat Kill.
Yes.
And these are all like short stories from Frank Miller's Sin City series.
Yes.
And they all cover different characters, but they all take place in the
Sin
same city. It's
What a
all the same
coincidence.
kind of setting, and some of the characters kind of overlap. And one of the settings overlap this bar. The Hard Goodbye, the Big Fat Kill, and the Yellow Bastard
Part 2. Yeah, so I just wanted to do some research because, like I said, the version unfortunately I ended up watching just had all these stories all together. So for me, the order was the Yellow Bastard, the Customer is Always Right, Hard Goodbye, and then the Big Fat Kill.
Yeah.
And trust me, I was confused because in the Customer is Always Right, it actually takes place.
Yeah, the Customer is
after
Always
the Big Fat Kill.
Yeah. The last part of the Customer is Always Right. It's like this last little minute or two.
Yeah.
Is meant to be at the end of the film. It's meant to be like the closing.
So watching it as the second story really threw me off guard because I'm just like,
Yeah.
who the fuck is that? Because I have no idea who they are. So like, okay. So it was interesting, but it's still I still got the pace of the movie. I realized afterward I looked it up and then I realized. So I just in my brain I just cut it up and I'm like, okay, now it kind of seems much more flow.
And when you're watching the movie, when it's cut up, like it's cut up in the Yellow Bastard. It's the Hard Goodbye, then the introduction to the Yellow Bastard, then the entirety of the Hard Goodbye. And in the middle of the Hard Goodbye, it kind of introduces the character from the main character of the Big Fat Kill. And
right, that dude, Dwight. Right.
Yeah, and then it goes to the Big Fat Kill, and then it finishes off the Yellow Bastard, and then it ends.
Yeah, with the Customer's Always Right Part 2.
Yeah.
And it was seeing a movie like that really puts you in perspective because you're seeing all these stories all at once, and you're just kind of like, because I feel like if I was watching the version you told me to watch, I would probably forget about the Yellow Bastard because I'd be, because so many things happens in all these other stories. They you come back to the Yellow Bastard and you're like, oh my god, right, that didn't get resolved yet, right? All right, let's go back to that, And I think it's so great. So I want to say, Leo, since you chose this, what was your favorite part? Which story was your favorite? After me, I'll talk after. I'll say mine. But
let's see. I have to say my favorite part is I really love the Customer is Always Right.
Yeah.
Probably because I've seen the movie 1,000 times. I know the line to that word for word.
Yeah.
Like it's just so cool. It has like for such a short little thing, for like a 3-minute little story.
Technically, it's like 5 minutes per. Putting all two parts together, it's literally just 5 minutes of that story.
Yeah. But it has like a really interesting twist.
Yes.
And the whole twist of it is that like she was the one who hired the hitman on herself.
Yeah.
And I thought that was like really interesting, and just like how the different implications that like how he was romancing her, all the different implications that has with just the phrase "I'll cash her check in the morning." Yeah,
it was just like it was some kind of like remorse, as if like it kind of showed that like they had history together. So he was just like, you know what, for her sake, for her honor, I'll cash her check in the morning. And I was like, I'll still get the money. Let's do it tomorrow.
I mean, I don't think it was. I think it was just more like. He was he had just murdered her, and he said he'll never know what she was running from.
Yeah. I mean, there was that passionate kiss though, so that does like kind of.
But I feel like that. See, that's the interesting thing. That what makes me like it so much is because like I feel like he was hired to do specifically that. He was hired to come into her.
Kind of role play and just kind of
role play like this kind of savior figure, and when in reality saving her is killing her.
Yeah, well, that does actually bring up a whole different perspective because if that was just all role playing, that's just some fucked up shit. And the fact that we just get to see that part only and kind of just move on from it, it really does get you thinking.
And it just sets the tone for the whole. It perfectly just sets the tone. It's just like. This woman, like, she was running away from something. She wanted to be like kind of she wanted to be kind of romanced before she was killed by the hitman she hired herself.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, actually. Yeah. My favorite, though, honestly, while I watched the movie, is definitely A Hard Goodbye. And the reason is Elijah Wood.
Man, Elijah Wood is so good.
So I
love how creepy he is.
Yeah, exactly. In this story, it's about Marv, who's played by Mickey Rourke, who looks really big.
Yeah,
he's like 2005.
I think this was like Mickey Rourke's like returning role.
Yeah, it was. Yes, it was. Yeah. And so he sleeps with this prostitute, but he ends up feeling a little bit more for her because she was there when no one else was.
He doesn't know that she's a prostitute.
Oh right, you're right.
And like he's like a big old ugly lug of a man.
So and he's very like fortunate to have because he like just fell in love with her. But in the middle of the night, right after they have sex, she's murdered, and he literally doesn't hear anything. So in this scene, he's just kind of like, you know what, I'm gonna go get. And I don't want to summarize, but like basically, he comes face to face with the killer, who was Kevin, played by Elijah Wood. And my God, seeing this character first time is really creepy because this guy does not show any emotion. Like
he does not.
He has a blank face. He has his glasses. Sometimes you can see his eyes. It's just like he's a kid who's just staring at you. You know, it's like every time they show his face, I always get creeped out because he's just like he has this weird little smile on his face, and later it turns out to be that he's a cannibal.
Yeah,
which makes it even like 10 times creepier.
Crazier, and it's just weird and crazy, and just like it just kind of. I think I love it. It's just because it's just it's so gritty and just bad shit happening all over the place.
And he never talks.
Yeah,
I think that's what makes it even better because everything he does is through his action.
Yeah,
you know, he cuts off
physical.
heads of prostitutes. He he just kind of he has a weird smile on his face. He's like a little kid looking for candy.
The claws he has for his nails. His nails are super long and they're sharp.
And he scratches. He has a goddamn coyote. I mean, damn, bro. You know, it was that story just was intense from beginning to end, honestly. And
it was really, really good.
And I do like Marv's hero-ness. Yeah. But actually, I also kind of like the part where they show Carla Gugino nude. So I thought that was nice.
Oh yeah.
That was a pleasure.
Yeah. Something interesting about that. So if you, I don't know if you got to watch the intro credits with your version, but in the intro credits, basically the intro credits is really long. Actually, it's almost similar to length that it was in Spider-Man, where it's 2 to 3 minutes. But it's just it's going every character just the image from their comic book character, and then the
movie
actress's name.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And it just went like that, and
I didn't have that. No.
A lot of this film is almost shot for shot from the comic book,
literally,
and almost word for word too. Because I read the comic book series sometime after watching the movie a billion times.
Yeah,
and it's ripped straight from the comics. Almost every word.
That's rare, you know.
Yeah, and it's I think this is the quintessential perfect comic book adaptation. This pulls everything that it could from the comic, and I'm pretty sure because Frank Miller had a lot of involvement in this film.
Yeah, that's true. I did see his name a lot in the credits. I mean, unfortunately, I didn't get to have that intro, which actually sounds pretty awesome. Yeah. For me, what happened was after each story, it was just a long 4-minute credit scene, and I'd be like, okay, I don't know what this is, but okay. I actually thought the movie was over, and I was like, wait, no, there's 3 more stories. All right, let me just keep it tight. But yeah, so the hard goodbye, I thought all the characters were great. Marv, he had a specific mission, and I love how he goes through it, and unfortunately at the end he gets it shows the corruptness of the city, and how he eventually has to take the fall, and just dies of electric chair. It's oh man.
Yeah, but he keeps his integrity throughout.
Yeah, he does.
And he wins, and then the movie doesn't end. I mean, his story doesn't end because
he has to deal with the aftermath.
Yeah, even though he won, there's still the repercussions for his actions.
Yeah, and Sin City, it's a city where even if you get your retribution, the city will eventually screw you over. And so he, like I said, he takes the fall. I like how he kills Kevin though. He literally just they don't show it at first. They just kind of have a zoom up of Kevin's face, which is of course lifeless as ever. But you think he's just in character because that's how he's been the whole story. And they zoom out and you see his legs have been cut off.
Oh,
and it's my god,
it was such a good reveal.
It was so great. And then the coyote eventually comes back, eats the rest of his body, and he just kind of takes his head. And I love how casual in this movie it is cutting off people's head. Yeah. It's there were 3 people who got their heads cut off. I'm like, okay, wow.
Yeah, no, this was a really pretty gruesome movie, and I think they were able to get away with it so easily because it was such stylized. Yeah. Speaking of which, the visuals, man, amazing. The visuals, I love the visuals. I love how every single story had a different kind of interpretation of this black and white visual system. Yeah, if you for the hard goodbye, it was almost strictly black and white. It was strictly black, white, and red.
And if you notice, it was more. It was more impossible because there are a couple scenes where he does this stuff and you're just that doesn't happen in the real world, so it's kind of more comic booky.
Yeah,
if you remember where he jumps off from the staircase and then he literally just kicks the windshield in on the cop car.
I thought that was cool.
I was because it's interesting because in some of the stories they're more realistic, he doesn't do anything crazy, but then all of a sudden in this story he's kicking through the windshields, he's jumping off stuff, and it's also I do want to say in this movie bullets literally mean nothing. They are completely worthless. I love. There's one scene where Marv gets shot down, and he just wakes up the next scene. He's like, "Yeah, I was in a coma." I'm like, "What? You just got shot down. You have veins busted. That doesn't work."
I don't know if this is a thing, but so I'm thinking maybe it's something with Marvin, the way his head is, maybe he has a metal plate or something, because I think he gets shot in the head twice in the movie.
I actually never noticed that because I think it was just so intense. I just probably
and because I know at one point Wendy, Goldie's twin sister, comes and shoots him and then knocks him out.
Oh yeah,
and it looked like he got hit in the head.
She did shoot him,
and you heard that a weird metal clank. I think, and
We really don't get any information on how he got disfigured. It's just kind of given to us, which is what I like about this movie. Is that even though this movie does give you exposition, it's exposition on what's happening in the moment. It's nothing about in the past this was me.
There's no explanation.
Yeah, it's just that what's happening now. Like, when he starts off, he says, "Oh yeah, I found this girl and I slept with her, and then she ended up dying in the middle of the night. Now I'm gonna get revenge." He doesn't say that. "Oh yeah, I used to be an army man. This is why I look like this." It just kind of, which is what I like about movies. Like, it just focuses on the now. And so A Hard Goodbye was definitely my favorite. But then, we can't really ignore The Yellow Bastard and
the yellow
Bastard. Let's start with that. I think that's the first story that opens.
Yeah,
Bruce Willis and Jessica Alba are in this movie.
Jessica Alba. Also, interesting thing about Jessica Alba.
Yeah.
So this is a Robert Rodriguez film. Kind of, it's not like through and through, but it's like this is still a Robert Rodriguez film. Robert Rodriguez has this thing, and I fucking love him for it. Probably because it's like he's literally like as close to like ethnically what I am as any other person in media. Yeah. Like he's literally from like the central Texas area Mexican. And he loves to shoot Austin, which is the next city over from the city that my family's in, and is where my mother went to college.
Really?
Yeah, she went to UT in Austin.
That's awesome.
And he loves to cast Hispanic actors. He loves to, and he gets away with it because Hispanics as a race, it's such a diverse race. Yeah. It's not like a homogenous race. So Jessica Alba is Hispanic.
Yes. Benicio del Toro.
Yeah, Benicio del Toro. He's Hispanic. Rosario Dawson is Hispanic.
Who else?
The little white girl that was in Gilmore Girls, the one that traded, that was the trader.
Becky.
Yeah, Becky. She's Hispanic.
Man, she's beautiful, by the way. Did you see are her eyes really that natural blue?
I think they are. Yeah.
That was. I think that's one of the things that caught me the most, because when I saw her, I was like, oh my god. Yeah. I was like, wow. I'm sorry. I was like, wow, that's a big, bright blue eyes.
Yeah, she really does have like these big old doughy eyes.
Yeah, and then like I was kind of distracted with there, but you don't really notice what else she's wearing, because if you look besides her eyes, she has like these big ass earrings like all the way down here, and it's just like, how are you even lugging those things up?
Yeah, I mean she.
This is weird, but yeah. So Jessica Alba in this version, we start off with the retired a cop who's about to retire, a day from retirement, but he's on his way for his last case, which is he's played by Bruce Willis, and like I said, this is where the exposition comes in, because literally for the first 2 minutes he's just driving down. He's like, oh yeah, last day on a cop, things are gonna get rough, but I gotta bring this asshole down. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's so intense. Yeah. And and Bruce Willis looks great. He has hair, he looks badass. And he goes to save this little girl from a serial rapist. And I do love how they kind of given why he's been out for so long, because he's the senator's son, and literally that means no one can touch him. Yeah, he's untouchable.
And like I like the whole like not mythology, but like the idea of the Rourkes.
Yeah, because the Rourkes rule the city. You know what I mean?
Because it's not just because the senator. He's not even the senator. Isn't even the strongest.
It's
Rourke.
The other one is the Pope or
the bishop. I think.
Bishop
or the cardinal. Like he's like whatever high person in the Catholic Church. For that locality.
Like he's the one who actually got his brother into the Senate. And I like how they kind of they give that exposition in A Hard Goodbye, and it was kind of like random, but I liked it. I was like, oh, so there is someone higher. So, it shows that the Rourke family have been there for a while. Like,
and like they run the town.
They run the town, and like you can see this a lot. Bruce Willis gets shot a lot. He gets fucked up a lot, and it's like every time. You know what's funny of Yellow Bastard? He gets slapped a lot.
Yeah.
He gets slapped. He gets shot by his partner. He gets slapped by his lawyer, Lucille, played by Carl Gugino. He gets slapped by that asshole rapist dude. I'm just like, Jesus, man, does this guy never? But like, he's very hopeful. He has a lot of strength. So he ends up saving Nancy, who at the time is, I think, 8 years past. So she's like.
No, I think she's 11 years old.
11. She's 11.
Yeah, because she's 19 when he comes out.
When he comes back, which is interesting. And he ends up going to jail for it. And I love the storytelling because Nancy, in another name, always sends him letters, and it's the only thing that keeps him sane.
It keeps him alive. It keeps him still a human being.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that the rapist he thinks he kills him, but he ends up sending him into a coma. And I think what's
so many different comas in this movie.
Yeah, that too. Everyone's in a coma in this movie.
Pumped full of bullets just to be put
in a coma. Like no one dies until like they say they're dead.
Yeah, they're like they get shot in the head. That's when they die.
I mean,
then it's a maybe.
I mean, it's a maybe. He's like, I think he's in a coma. He could come out of it. It's funny too because he literally shot him in the balls, and I'm like, that's so much pain. How do you endure that? You know?
I like that because it was like such an intentional thing.
Yeah.
I think this movie does this thing where it repeats lines a lot. So it'll I really liked the line where he said like, so I took away his weapons, both of them.
Yeah.
Like he says that twice in the film.
Those are so amazing. I have a question for you, right? When does for the movie in general, when does the Yellow Bastard Part 1 end off? Is it when they show the yellow asshole or is it
the Yellow Bastard Part 1 ends, I believe, as he knocks out on the dock. Like, when he says like an old man's life, old man lives, a little girl, old man dies,
and a little girl lives. Oh, that really?
Yeah, that's where it cuts off, and then it goes into the hard goodbye.
Oh, so okay. If I saw that, I'd probably be confused because I'm like, there is no Yellow Bastard here yet, so I don't know what is going on. But yeah, so then Part 2 begins, and like I said, he's in jail. 8 years pass, right? And I love how they introduced the Yellow Bastard.
Yeah,
he literally just wakes up and he's just staring at him in the corner of the cell, and he looks so creepy, and you're just like, what the fuck? And he's like, yo, he smells like shit too, and then he just punches him out. I'm like, oh my god, does this guy never get not punched? Like, Jesus, man. And later it turns out the Yellow Bastard is actually the serial rapist, and even then I'm just still confused because apparently shooting your balls off means you turn yellow. Like,
yeah, well,
I don't know.
I mean, I was able to accept that because it's just like, you know, his head got shut off and his dick got shut off.
Yeah, I mean, I was just like, yeah, okay,
whatever medical wonders that make you still be a person. I guess that turns you orange.
It shows how powerful Rourke family really is because they literally grew back his balls and his dick.
Yeah.
So you're just like, wow, that's a lot of money.
Yeah,
you know that's some serious shit right there. I respect that, you know. So he eventually leads him to Nancy, and this part was kind of weird because Nancy ends up falling in love with him.
Yeah, that was a very.
I thought I understood.
It made sense. It was just weird and creepy.
Yeah, because you know it's like he saved her. Okay, she fell in love with him, but I was just like, because he thinks of her as a daughter, but she thinks of him as a lover. So you know when there's two opposite sides like that, it just kind of feels weird. You know,
it feels weird and.
Don't get me wrong. If Jessica Alba came on to me, I wouldn't say no. I mean, but it just I don't know.
And Bruce Willis's character, he feels conflicted about it. He goes to take a cold shower after she comes on to him like 7 times.
Yeah,
he's just like, no, you can be my daughter. You can be my granddaughter.
Yeah, I'm not.
We
are not doing this right now. And then the Yellow Bastard comes, and everything just like really
actually, very interesting. I don't know if they did this in the extended cut, but so when he was hanging and like he said like this is it, this is the end, and then it cuts to black.
Yeah.
In the comic books, it actually the next page is like the credits page and like the end of the comics page.
Really?
Yeah, the next 4 pages.
They just ended there, really?
Yeah, no, but then like after those 4 pages, it goes back to the story.
It was like we got you. I was like, what?
Because it's like the letter to the editor and just like the credits and like the whatnot, and then
it goes like fake you out. Like, no, for us, what happened is he's like, you know, he's choking, but then his head starts talking to him, and he's like, you know, keep your neck strong, you bastard. You know, you can do this. Start swinging towards the window. You know, and he breaks the window. He breaks off the glass. I was like, okay, that's interesting. And I like there's one scene afterwards where the guys come to collect his body, but they're in a fucking Ferrari, and they're like, yo, this thing doesn't have a trunk. So how do you expect us to take him?
I love those two.
The banter was funny. I was like, okay.
These two characters, they're reoccurring fucking like odd job criminals. And it's like this short guy and this big dude. And their whole shtick is that they try to talk in the most eloquent way possible. Yeah. Like, they use the most ridiculous, like, high-level vocabulary unnecessarily. And, like, that's all that they do. And that's their whole shtick. And, and it just sounds great. So awkward coming out. I think the big one, he was actually, what is it? Ron Swanson, what's his name?
Nick Offerman.
Okay. I think that was Nick Offerman. I'm not 100%
he's in the movie.
certain. He is? Yeah.
Oh, I didn't notice that because I didn't see it. Did he have his beard on him? No.
Yeah, because he had like a white beard. His face is like really obscured with his facial makeup and the piercings and stuff.
I love Nick Offerman. I want to keep this short, but you know, I was looking for him throughout the movie, but I couldn't find him. I was like, where is he? But now, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. So oh my god, now I'm so excited.
I love those two.
Yeah, they were so great. And then the story at the end just he catches up to them and just beats the shit out of them.
Yeah, and
he rips his balls
wins.
out again.
Every single character wins to a certain extent.
Yeah, to a certain extent.
It's more. It's not that they win. It's that they win.
They achieve what they wanted to do. Basically,
but then reality kind of continues, not reality, but like consequences are still there.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
Yeah. So like it's kind of like a realistic movie where like it's like you did something to save someone, but now you got to deal with the aftermath. You know? Like it doesn't end right there. It's like I win, yay, but then now it's like oh shit. What about now?
Yeah, and I like that with the Yellow Bastard, the way it ended.
Yes.
It
was such a interesting ending.
Spoiler, I guess.
Spoilers.
So
came out in 2005. I think it was fine.
But so in the end of the Yellow Bastard, he says like, we're gonna, I'm like, go away, Jessica Alba's character. I'm gonna stay here and wait for the police, and
I will bring down Senator Rourke and his entire family.
Yeah, and then he was just like, and then as he's going around, he's like expositioning to himself, like, yeah, right, I'm gonna fucking take out.
It's like right after that, I'm gonna kick God or something like that. And I love that line. I was like, wow.
After that, I'm gonna go punch out God.
And I was like, wow, that's intense.
And then he kills himself because that's the only way he could win.
He doesn't go into a coma. This one finally killed him.
He actually shoots himself in the head.
But they don't show that. I love how they show it in all black and white.
I love that too. Like that's another thing, like another reoccurring visual thing in the film is like where it'll be the characters in white and then like just in white with the background. Yeah. And it'll just kind of like be outlined or whatnot. Yeah. And it's just that kind of like stunning visual effect. Yeah. I really like it.
And what I love about this movie is that in some scenes they show actual blood, while in other scenes they just kind of animate it. Mm-hmm. And I kind of, like you said, I really like the switch they do between that. Kind of brings it to reality and like comic bookness. It's just like a really great mix.
Yeah, and it reminds me a lot of oddly enough the Star Wars prequel trilogy.
Oh yeah,
because like the Star Wars prequel trilogy, it was like almost 100% shot on green screen. Yeah, there was like barely any sets.
I mean, it was a time where they were like, "Oh, look what we can do with computers. Let's use it on everything," you know.
And this movie's kind of similar to that. Yeah. But like they use it much more stylistically. Yeah. They have drawn backgrounds and like these kind of like very like striking, contrasting black and whites.
Yeah. Some of the backgrounds are drawn. Some of them are actually real backgrounds, but like black and white. So it's interesting. And the fact that it's coming from a graphic novel, you're just like, okay, I'll allow this.
It feels true to the style. Like, you never feel pulled out because of like the visual effects. Or at least for me, I always felt like the visual effects like enhanced the feeling of the whole film.
Yeah, and Star Wars was never really based on a book, so they were kind of George Lucas or whoever created it was just kind of going as they made it along. He was just kind of like this is gonna happen now. This is gonna whatever. Then it's our last story. It's the big fat kill. This story I thought it was gonna be boring, but it actually really exceeded my expectations. Because after the Yellow Bastard and A Hard Goodbye, I was like, okay, this story's got to do something that will like really pump up the stakes, and it does. It really does keep that level of excitement and just like craziness.
Yeah, actually, let us take a break because the clip that I have for today is actually from the Big Fat Kill. So let me pick that up real quick.
Finding out that you've been sweet-talked by a total jerk loser who skips out on a wife that he doesn't even tell you about every time he gets drunk, which is way too often. Especially the kind of total jerk loser who has to beat up on a girl to make himself feel like a man.
Yes, so that was a big fat kill.
Yeah, I think that was like around the introduction. It was like the first 5 minutes.
It was the first 5 minutes. So in this one, basically, there's the girl you heard. She ends up sleeping with someone else, but her ex-boyfriend is this asshole who's played by Beneficio Del Toro. Now, before I go up ahead, fun fact is he had so much makeup on, he just completely had a different face. Yeah, like people actually thought that's what he looked like. And I read somewhere that the Robert Rodriguez likes to remind people, saying that that's not what his real face looks like. He insisted to have the makeup on, so I think that's great.
Yeah, and it was a really good job. And I think like with the makeup, like both him and Marv, Mickey Rourke's character, phenomenal makeup, like really convincing, like these just to give you that like kind of stylistic facial outline.
But I think that Jackie Boys was much like has an edge because he literally looks like someone else. Yeah, like the fact that you can put that much makeup on and change the face to make it seem one way, right? That's really good because even actually Marv also, because you can't tell that's Mickey Rourke. He looks like someone else, like so it was really interesting.
He looks like Marv. Like if you were to look at the comic book character, like that is like the closest real life interpretation of what Marv could be.
Yeah, exactly. So basically what happens is Jackie Boy, he's very aggressive, and the guy the guy she sleeps with is Dwight. And really, is it ever said what his occupation is? He's just the one tough guy, but like, is he like
it is implied in this film. It is only implied that he basically whatever he did, if he were to ever get caught, he would be like killed for it.
Yeah.
Like he would be, well, if he was caught by the law, he would be killed for it. So
yeah.
He had his face changed.
Yeah.
But I think this is not necessarily a sequel, but like the next line in the story after what would be the main story of Sin City 2, which was actually pretty not great. I heard it.
But I do hear that Marv comes back in.
Yeah.
And Sin City, so yeah, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
But
so
yeah,
whatever the events that happen in A Dame to Kill For and whatever he does, he has to change his face and then go hide away for some time. And then he comes back with Clive Owen's face.
Yeah. So then like that, and then so Dwight ends up, kind of, what's that word?
He roughs him up.
Yeah, he roughs up Jackie Boy. Jackie Boy's tight, so he ends up going to find the prostitutes.
Yeah, and they go to Old Town.
Yeah, and Old Town, basically the deal is it's all run by prostitutes. The cops don't enter, and the law is taking care of the ladies.
Yeah,
which is really cool because they have guns, they're badasses, right?
Yeah.
And so eventually, Jackie Boy tries to rough up one of the prostitutes, and they get killed by Miho, who's one of the badass characters I've ever seen in my life.
The samurai.
She fucks him up so bad. That one scene where she cuts off his head, I'm like, dude, where were you thinking you were gonna go? And remember the last guy? He got out and she's like it was amazing.
It was so clean. It was
so great.
Kills,
it was
all of them.
And then plot twist. Jackie Boy is a cop.
Yeah, and not only is he a cop,
he's a hero cop. He's a cop that everyone looks up to. I was like, oh shit, okay, the guy is an asshole.
Yeah, the newspapers called him Iron Jack.
Yeah, and now there's a big problem because the thing about Old Town is that the truce was the cops stay out and the ladies have control of the town.
Yeah.
So if you ever see a cop in your area, you let them off with a warning.
Yeah.
Well, this guy's dead.
Yeah.
So shit's gonna break loose. So of course, I do like how they show the toughness. Rosie O'Dawson is one of them, and I love how they show her toughness because she's like, all right, we're gonna fight. We're gonna fuck these guys up.
Yeah.
And Dwight's kind of like the one who's thinking logically. He's like, you're insane. We're not gonna fight cops. Okay. Yeah. This is what we do. We're gonna discard the body. We're gonna keep this away.
We're just gonna we're gonna make it so that nobody finds out that this happened, and there'll be no problem.
So they cut up the body, which is again awesome.
Yeah.
And I love how the dead body is in the front because he didn't cut it up.
Oh yeah, so they couldn't they
fit
got
everything in the trunk. So
they got this really shitty old car. They couldn't fit all the bodies into the trunk.
So they put Jackie Boy's body in the front.
Yeah, and before when they kill Jackie Boy, Miho puts a little thing in a little cylinder into his gun, and
that backfires. So the whole gun just backfires and hits him in the
it backfires
forehead.
into his skull.
Yeah,
and then I love that line, just how not even desperate, but just how grim once the piece of the gun is inserted into his forehead, he's just like, I can't see, I can't hear anything,
and then he just dies.
Yeah,
and then what's great?
He doesn't die immediately because Dwight's like, Miho, can you finish him off? Have some pity, finish him off.
Yeah. And then what's interesting is Dwight ends up hallucinating the part that Jackie Boy's alive.
Yeah,
and I thought that part was really creepy. I
really liked it because
I liked it too. I loved it. I thought it was because there was a scene where they kept him on camera for about a good 2 minutes, and I'm like, okay, something's gonna happen. He's probably alive, but he just starts talking. I'm like, oh shit! I almost shit my pants. Like
and I liked how lucid Dwight was about it. He was just like. It's just
he's like, shut up, you're in my head. All right,
yeah, you shut up, you're in my head. You're not real. You're dead.
I like how he doesn't let it affect him. Which is great,
and the Jackie Boy, Jackie Boy's hallucination is just well, that doesn't matter.
Yeah,
because what I'm saying is right.
Yeah, so he just keeps mocking him, and then there's one line before I wrap it up. There's one line I like is that there's a cop after me, but you never know, he could be the honest cop, and it just shows the struggle of cops, how they're portrayed, because you don't know if this one's honest or this one's an asshole cop. You know what I mean?
And that was the thing. It was just do I want to take the risk that maybe this is a good cop, and
he has a family to feed, and he's just doing what's right, or maybe this is an asshole cop and I won't have any remorse killing him, and he's kind of fighting that ethical battle, and the cop turns out to be cool, which is nice. So he's gonna throw the body into tar pits, which is weird. First of all, I don't even know why a city has a tar pit.
Well, no, I think LA has a tar pit. I think
really?
City is. I think it's probably based on LA.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I think
I didn't know that.
I think they're called the La Brea tar pits, I believe.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, it's an attraction. They have the dinosaur things too.
Yeah, I saw the I thought that was cool.
So
they get stopped by Rourke's men, or is it like minute?
No, they get stopped by some mercenaries that were hired.
Yeah,
they're basically hired. They know what's happening, and their job is they need to secure Jackie Boy's head.
Yeah,
they need to like have proof that Jackie Boy's dead. And
yeah,
and so that they could take this to like the papers and take it to the mob and take it to the police.
So the war can all break out. So at one point, they come to an alleyway. You know, they've been betrayed by Becky. She's like, oh, they have the head, and now. You know, he's giving them a head. And what I love is she's like, no, wait, something's wrong. He didn't have tape over his mouth. What? And she's like such a snitch. And when the head breaks, like, blows up, literally nothing happens. Like, they all just get pushed a couple feet backwards. I'm like, oh, wow, if only grenades, you know, were that useless in our world. You know what I mean? I'm like, what is this?
I mean, also early, like, when the guy that they got it from, he blew up an explosive, like, right next to both, in two separate instances, right next to Miho and right next to Dwight.
Yeah.
Like literally 2 feet away. And then they just kind of like, were just like, oh.
Yeah, whatever. You know, damn bomb. I'm going to close the room. It's like, oh. You know, so it was funny. And then the ladies end up murdering the mercenaries, and the story kind of ends off on a happy ending. Where I think this is the one where Dwight really doesn't die.
Yeah,
he lives.
This is that's the happiest ending of the bunch.
Yeah, so he's just like, yeah, you know what? This is Sin City. We're gonna protect our turf, you know.
Yeah.
And I love like the violent kissing he does with Rosario Dawson.
Oh yeah,
it really makes me laugh. It's so because there's one scene where they all have guns pointed at him, and they just start making out. They're just like, yeah, I'm gonna put my gun down, and then we're fine. Then we're good, you know. So it's great.
But yeah, no. So I guess like closing remarks, like this is I love this.
And that's the big fat kill, and that's Sin City overall.
Yeah, I cannot recommend this film enough.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend it.
Movie.
Yeah, this was my first time watching it, and honestly, the visuals were amazing. The story was amazing. I wish I saw it in the theatrical version because I feel like it would have much of a bigger impact.
Yeah,
you know, having it cut up in stories, you know. But you know, seeing it in whole too also was still the same because you know you were like you got closure before you went on to a next story. You know what I mean? Because you know, Yellow Bastard Part 1 is in the beginning, and the Yellow Bastard Part 2 is like right after the big fat kill. So that's like about an hour and a half of just other stuff happening. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you might forget what happens in the Yellow Bastard. You're like, oh right, this guy saved this girl. Okay, yeah, let's see what happens here. You know what I mean? So in a way, it's kind of good and bad, but you know, I think definitely the theatrical version is better because, like I said, for me, I love movies where they have different stories like kind of just cut up, and they all, at the end it all just kind of comes together. You know, but this story is basically like all this shit is happening in one city. You know, and some of the characters sometimes go over, but it's fine.
Yeah, they kind of overlap. Like I enjoyed that. For the big fat kill on Yellow Bastard, when he goes into the bar to like just kind of looking for Nancy. Yeah. This is already after Marv's story and the hard goodbye had finished. You see Marv just sitting there at the bar, like so. This this takes place before Marv dies.
Yeah. So it's great. It's awesome. So yeah, okay, guys. You have any?
I don't know. I mean, I would say watch it. Try to find the theatrical release of it. It's the best version.
Or the DVD. I think this movie's worth buying.
Yeah, it's such a good movie. I remember actually when I was younger. Yeah. I saw this film and I saw like the trailer for it. And I was just like, oh man, look all these like all-star people. Yeah. And I was just like cynical. As like even as a kid, it was just like, man, this movie's not gonna be great. Like it's look all these too many famous people for it to be good. Yeah. And then I eventually watched it.
And you're like, oh shit, this is great.
Wow, this is actually really really good. Holy wow.
All right, so yeah, guys, that was Sin City. Next week, please join us for the second installment of the Spider-Man trilogy, Spider-Man 2. We will have our boy Shadman back, so hopefully that'll be fun. And just watch Spider-Man 2 because it's a gift. Yeah. So yeah, all right. I'm Rumman.
And I'm Leo.
And this is Movie Talks. You know, we're trying to change your name, so let's see how that works out. Maybe one day we'll find something. All right, guys. Maybe. So yeah, thanks for listening.
All right, and see y'all on the next one.
Bye.